have a quorum. So this is just basically a working session of the subcommittee. So there won't be any official votes taken tonight because there is no school committee meeting um, open at this time. So with that, Bob, I know that you had put up some stuff. Do you want to just go over some of the materials and how you're organizing it, and then we can have a discussion. And I think we got some additional information today from a town resident, and we can sort of add those links in and share them with the committee, and then talk about how we want to move forward. So, Bob, I'm putting a lot on you to drive, but
And
are you ready?
also, if you could just remind us, because again, we're not going to review the minutes or anything tonight because we don't have a quorum. And I'd like to have all the school committee and as many people as possible approve the minutes to who are on this committee.
Mhm.
If you could just remind everybody of the three where we decided to focus, the three we decided to focus on before you get started, just so that people are aware, that would be great.
So before I put it up there, I'll read the three statement of interest priorities. So number three is the prevention of the loss of accreditation. Number five is replacement, renovation, or modernization of school facility systems such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating, and ventilation systems to increase conservation and decrease energy-related costs in a school facility. Number seven, which is the third priority, replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide for a full range of programs consistent with the state and approved local requirements. This is out of 8 total priorities. 5 were deemed at the last meeting not appropriate or pertaining to us. So those are the 3 categories moving forward. Sorry for my. And then if I were to share the statement of interest, one second. Um, the statement of interest that I'm sharing is going to be the most recent statement of interest that was submitted to MSBA. It has been updated since that submittal and then shared with you all. And then any feedback that I've received today has not been added to it. So again, if I were to say share, I'm going to say Chrome. Okay, so what you're all seeing right now, I'm going to go full screen. So hopefully you can all see my screen. Now, these are prescriptive, meaning that what's in bold is what's copied specifically from the MSBA statement of interest. And then what's not bold is, well, until we get past this first category, when it comes to questions, you'll see that there's a question that's asked, and then we have put input into it, and that's what can be changed. The questions cannot be changed. So as I scroll down, you'll see the priorities up the top, 3, 5, and 7. SOI vote requirement. Again, this is a requirement that needs to go in front of the school committee, and it needs to go in front of the select board. They have to read a prescriptive letter. It has to be voted on and approved at both boards, and then has to be notarized and submitted as part of the statement of interest submission process. You'll see the first question, is this a statement of interest, the district priority? Now, this may be our priority, but I believe the MSBA categorizes this as Fox Hill as our first priority. But we will still submit this as a yes unless this committee disagrees. Obviously, the school name of the district will change from 2024 to Burlington High School 2026. The document that I share with you is a live working document, and there is a backup copy that does not have changes to it. So we can all work on this. You'll see there's a general section here that asks some background history. Again, the bold is the question, the not bold is the answer. Facilities plan date. So this was 3/24 was the last one that was done. That is a facilities audit that was completed by KBA Construction. As we go down, again, it's going to ask more questions. And I can slow down. I'm not sure. Do we want to read some of these specific categories? Or are we trying to get a higher level overview right now?
Why don't we review them? I mean, I know it's a little time consuming, but I just don't want it to feel like we're rushing through anything for those who've not seen these before.
Okay. So this says the question, please provide a brief summary of the plan, apostrophe, I mean, parentheses, plans, including its goal and how the school facility that is the subject of this SOI fits into that plan. This right here is actually a summary from that plan of what it is. So again, this can be changed. But this says the purpose of the Burlington School Master Plan was to furnish the system with the following components: projections for demographics and enrollment, issues related to education and programs concerning facilities, documentation of the needs of the physical plant, options for enrollment, programmatic and physical plant requirements across the system, identification of a long-term facilities master plan, planning for short-term needs that fall outside the master plan. Specifically, this plan was not specific to the high school. This included all 6 of our district buildings, but this summary was taken from that, and then information from that plan was used for the statement of interest. So as I continue the renovations of the HVAC plan to the Burlington High School, along with all other elements of the proposed project, for the third initiative outlined in the master plan, the replacement and the renovation of Memorial School, Marshall Simons Middle School, designated as steps 1 and 2, have been successfully completed. The Burlington School Department intends to revise the educational master plan in 2027, which will aim to update and refresh the 2017 plan. Sorry for that, everyone. That's my son. Bye, Trev. Hockey. So now if I can move on, it says, please add, this one says do not apply, but if applicable, the most recent budget approval process that resulted in an operating budget reduction and the impact of the reduction to the school district, staff reductions, discontinued programs, consolidation of facilities, et cetera. Please provide a description of the program modifications, et cetera. This did not apply and does not apply this year. The next one says, please provide a description of the local actions and approval needed to secure both funding for a feasibility study and project funding for a potential building project with the MSBA. Please include schedule information for both funding actions, i.e. town meetings, city council / town council meetings, regional school committee meetings. And again, should I continue to keep reading or more? All right, so what's here right now says budget guidelines are set forth by a designated Ways and Means Committee, the Board of Selectmen, and the town manager. Updated now, this should say the select board and the town administrator. So a financial summit involving all elected boards takes place in mid-November, providing a comprehensive overview of the town's financial status from both revenue and expense angles. Following this, a budget template, which includes the expected budget guidelines, is distributed to personnel in the school department for their submissions to the central office. These budget submissions are then compiled into a draft budget, which is presented to the school committee in mid-January. Again, these are approximate dates, but let me continue. The school committee evaluates the draft submissions from January through March, accompanied by public presentations. In March, a public hearing is conducted and the school committee casts a vote on the total budget, which is then submitted for a vote by town meeting members in May. The fiscal 2026 budget process included a guideline of 4%. That needs to change to 4.5. So 4.5 above the fiscal 2025 budget. The approved budget for FY26 school year amounted to $64,690,145 for operating expenses, $15,206,011 for accommodated expenses, totaling $79,896,156. There are no expected reductions in programs or increases in class sizes anticipated with the FY26 budget submission. Again, general description. Does anyone have any questions there? You know, I can already see that this four.
Yeah, Bob, just put some markers where we have to make some edits.
Yep. Okay.
Maybe put in a different color or something, just to,
Yeah. So
No.
let's go right back. Slide
and
four.
again, this is what's been there before. If anyone has any suggestions on different ways of the verbiage being written or whatever, again, we're all open to it. Once you've had a chance to review it after we have gone over this. So just want to let you all know it's not etched in stone what we see now.
Correct. Thanks. So moving on, general description, brief building history. Please provide a detailed description of when the original building was built and the dates and project scopes of any additional renovations, including modular units. So again, the building was constructed in 1970 to 1972 as Burlington High School. It has no additions since its opening. Some building components have been replaced or refurbished as part of a 10-year capital improvement plan. As needed, see list. Again, there may be more prior to this, but I may not have those readily available to me. But from 1995 forward, we say expansion joint repairs, minor roof and flashing repairs, rooftop condenser replacement, air conditioning replacement, gym floor refinish, ADA improvements, 2000 window replacement. Now, these are all warrant article requests. So these all went to town meeting and then have a backup for them. These are not operating budget expenses. So again, if I continue, 2000 window replacement, bathroom replacement, renovations, auditorium sound system, outdoor track replacement, auditorium chair replacement, generator replacement, 2008 auditorium lighting control, 2009 fitness and locker room renovations, 2010 varsity field renovations, 2012 roof replacement, elevator installations, 2014 pavement replacements, 15 new front entrance, 2016 re-tube boilers, 2016 performing arts improvements, 2019 penthouse roof repairs, 2020 vinyl flooring replacement, 2025 carpet replacement, 2025 re-tube boilers and HVAC penthouse repairs.
Bob, it was mentioned again, someone gave us feedback can you put in the replacement of the wooden gym floor because of um,
The insurance?
the insurance,
Yep.
the water damage?
Okay.
Because I think that was also significant. And maybe add a total over the last 20, 15 years.
Okay. Moving on, total building square footage. Please provide the original building square footage plus the square footage of any additions, field one below. So it may look differently than what the website looks like when you go to submit a statement of interest. So like in this example, this is a text box where we just fill in a number. When it's printed out, and this is the format we get. So moving on, site descriptions, please provide a detailed description of the current site, including confirming the address of the school, who has ownership, control, and use of the site, and any known existing conditions that would impact a potential project at this site. Please note whether there are any buildings, public or private, that share this current site with the school, and or if there are multiple schools housed within the same building. What is the use of this building? And there's a maximum of 5,000 characters. So the Burlington High School property encompasses about 70 acres of land. At one corner of the high school facility, which measures 360,000 square feet, is located, while the rest of the site includes practice fields, a game field, parking, and road access. The site is surrounded by wetlands and residential areas. There are no known environmental or other concerns that would affect the proposed project. The site is exclusively owned and not shared.
Bob, is there any site language that was used in terms of the feasibility study that we could borrow?
I'm sure there are. I don't have it on my,
No,
readily
again,
available, but um, okay. Again, building envelope. Please include a detailed description of the building envelope, types of construction materials used, and any known problems or existing conditions. Again, maximum of 5,000 characters. The building envelope mainly comprises of poured concrete and cement masonry unit, CMU, abbreviated walls that were built between 1970 and 1971. In 2000, aluminum frame window units and doors featuring low E glass were installed to replace the original units. The roof consists of a fully adhered rubber membrane, which was replaced in 2012. Currently, there are no known issues or deficiencies associated with the building envelope.
and again, was that confirmed by TAPE?
Yeah, I mean, the building's all concrete with a rubber roof and windows and doors. But yeah, again, we could obviously look to expand with any input from the feasibility study.
And then, as we discussed last time, MSBA has come out and looked at the building themselves. So again, I've gotten questions. Why don't we describe the building like it's in worse shape? And MSBA has their own rating of the building envelope. So I don't think describing the building differently than it is helps us at all.
Well, so part of it is context, obviously, and I agree with you, Eric. For others that are on the call who haven't looked at the SOI before, then we'll continue into this where we talk about the roof section, where we talk about the windows and walls. We'll talk about the HVAC. So some of it at some point, in my opinion, only seems repetitive, but I agree that there gives you some opportunities where you can put in, up to 5,000 characters. So I think there's plenty of room to expand on these. So if I move on to the next one where it says, has there been any major repair or replacement of the exterior walls? Year of last major repair or replacement. So 1971 is when the exterior walls were built. Description of the last major repair or replacement, not applicable. Total square roof footage, 200,000 square feet. Roof section A is the district seeking replacement of the roof section. So again, this is a yes, no. There's a question from Lisa. When did MSBA last come out and see this building? They were on site in December of 2025. They actually visited twice, so they were in November and then December. But as part of the 2026 MSBA survey. Next, area section 200,000 square feet, type of roof, and it gives examples of types. So fully adhered EDPM. Some of these, which this one is a short answer, so it doesn't have the 5,000 character limit. Age of section, number of years since the roof was installed or replaced, 14. Description of repairs if applicable in the last 3 years include year of repair. The new roof was installed in 2012. So again, I think we could expand on that a little bit, but given what the circumstances are for that question, it shows that it's a relatively middle of the warranty / lifetime of the roof. Again, no comment on this one.
And it also counters the argument that we did hear that we're not maintaining the building. And so anyone on the call, if you can see the amount of money the town has put into the high school and for the work that we have done, again, I think the building certainly has been maintained.
Agreed. So total window count, 300. Window section A is the district seeking replacement of the window section. The answer previously used was ES. Windows in this section, again, count 300 types of windows. Examples provided. These are aluminum frame with low E insulated glass. Age of section, number of years since the windows were installed or replaced, description, if applicable, in the last 3 years, include years of repair. Total replacement in 2000, 24 years. This obviously would get increased now to, again, depending on the date, either 25 or 26. Moving on, mechanical and electrical systems. Please provide a detailed description of the current mechanical and electrical systems and any known problems or existing conditions. Maximum of 5,000 characters. Let's see. The mechanical system, specifically the HVAC system, comprises 3 gas-fired tube-type boilers that are connected to a circulation system leading to rooftop air handlers equipped with heat coils. These units distribute forced air through VAV boxes to all classroom areas. The rooftop units are fitted with air conditioning compressors and chillers, which share the same distribution system for seasonal air conditioning. Each system is controlled by individual thermostats, lacking any central control mechanism. However, the existing HVAC system has surpassed the life expectancy of all boilers, air handlers, and compressor units. The current control system, which operates on MS-DOS, is no longer supported and has become non-functional. Furthermore, the existing fresh air supply and exhaust systems do not comply with current ASHRAE guidelines for air exchange. There are no economizers present in the existing plan to enhance energy savings. Any questions? Again, I'll move on. The electrical infrastructure consists of 3-phase, 4-wire, 277/480 volt secondary system, supported by dry-type transformers strategically placed throughout the building to supply 120/208 power. All power feeds originate from 3 primary transformer vaults operating at 13,880 volts, along with 3 main distribution switchgear units. Additionally, a backup generator is in place to provide emergency power to designated lighting and critical components of the building. The backup generator fails to meet the current demands during emergency situations. While the electrical service and distribution seem adequate for present needs, the dry type transformers installed in the facility dating back to 1971 have either reached or exceeded their life expectancy. Total building boilers, 3. Boiler section. So this talks about each boiler individually. So boiler 1, is the district seeking replacement of the boiler? Yes. Is there more than one boiler in the building? Yes. What percentage of the building is heated by the boiler? 100. Type of heating fuel. Examples provided. 3 boilers, natural gas. Age of boiler, number of years since the boiler was installed or replaced. 54. Description of repairs, if applicable, in the last 3 years, include year of repair. Annual maintenance is carried out on all 3 boilers to ensure their functionality. In summer of 2025, the school department executed a retubing of all 3 boilers as authorized by a warrant article during town meeting. The overall expense for the temporary repair amounted to $150,000. The partial retubing of the boilers failed to sustain performance during the preceding heating seasons, leading to shutdown and mid-season repairs of the boilers. Has there been a major repair or replacement of the HVAC system last year of major repair or replacement? So 1971 is the last year of major replacement. Again, open for discussion. I would say that a retubing of a boiler, while expensive, given the vast size and number of components in the system, would be considered minor. But others could disagree of that. So that's probably something we could discuss in the future. Has there been a major repair or replacement of the electrical services and distribution system? No. Year of last major repair or replacement, 1971. And then description of last major repair or replacement, none.
Bob, We did have a warrant article to do some design work on the HVAC system. Is that correct?
We do, correct. Yep, which it turned it into like the 2021 Socotec feasibility study or system audit.
Now, I know we're limited to 5,000 words, and that was a lot longer than that. Can we include that as an appendices? Do they limit that?
So there is another section that's coming up where it asks if we've had any other studies done in the building. And then as part of the submission, so earlier in the process where we talked about the facilities master plan, later on it will ask us to include that. Later on in the statement of interest, when it asks for other ones, I recognize the Socotec, and I have some snippets from that report included in this. They will also ask us to submit that as part of it. So the MSBA currently has our 2021 Socotec report and our 2017 facilities master report. But as part of the statement of interest, I would submit those again as part of this application.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that I like what's said about the HVAC system initially, and I think it's a very good description. I just wanted to, put myself out there to let you know we can elaborate if you want. If you want to sit down and dig into it a little deeper. I don't know how many characters we have left, and I know there's a lot more information coming. So I've read through everything, and it's been described very well. But I'm at your disposal if you want to dig into it a little deeper.
Thanks, Neil. And again, this is the time for it, right? So we're putting this forward, and everybody on the committee, and then people who aren't on the committee who want to chime in, I guess, have the opportunity to do so. And as a committee, we'll put forth, our best effort for a statement of interest.
I
So-
noticed in that initial paragraph about the HVAC, they didn't reference the pneumatic systems that run the VAV boxes and stuff. It did talk about your
Do
DOS
you
system.
feel, yeah, do
but
you
it
feel
does
there's anything
reference
missing?
the pneumatic. Was that?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
were cutting out. So if you feel there's anything missing, I think we should add that. And then I also feel like the order should be, and you know this better than anybody, but I always say that when you have lots of paragraphs and lots of things that you're talking about, put your most important and most critical things first, and then the kind of, middle-y stuff in the middle, and then you can end with, a strong conclusion. But I always put the most important things first, so they see that first, right?
yeah.
Because we all know, as much as we want them to read every single word, I think people tend to read the first few sentences and skim through the rest fast.
Sure.
I was going to suggest if we have enough characters left that we could say, please reference this attached document that goes into greater detail as well.
And there is a chance for that to come up in later on in that, but I think in general, maybe my interpretation is that they're looking for some brief descriptions. In some scenarios, they're looking for small descriptions based on the text box size. And then, like I said, it will give you the opportunity to reference larger documents. And then we need to include those documents with them as part of the submission. So. So again, boilers, age of boilers we talked about, HVAC systems. And now, so we're back onto building interior. Again, please provide a detailed description of the current building interior, including a description of the flooring systems, finishes, ceilings, lighting, etc. Maximum of 5,000 characters. The interior walls are constructed from CMU blocks, separating the corridors from the classrooms. The majority of walls between classrooms are also made of CMU blocks. In certain classrooms, there are instances of drywall construction and movable partitions. The ceilings throughout the corridors feature metal spline tiles, while classrooms have acoustical tiles and exposed concrete. The flooring is finished with VCT tiles in both classrooms and corridor spaces. The lighting system itself is original, but primarily utilizes 4-foot LED bulbs in most areas. The facility includes 2 gymnasium spaces, which are enclosed by CMU block walls and feature wood or rubber composite flooring with Tectum deck ceilings.
Could I
Again, this is a
mention something regarding it says that most of the classroom walls that separate the classroom walls are CMU blocks, but I don't know if that's accurate. I think that most of the classroom walls that separate classroom to classroom are those like movable partition walls that are a problem for sound transmission. So I don't know if
good.
you might
Davies.
want to think about changing that.
And Bob, like we've discussed, I'm going to go back and look at the feasibility study from TAP A. There might be some language we can use.
Yep.
Yep.
Again, spaces and programs. Please provide a description of the number and sizes in square feet of all spaces. Please also provide the current grade structure and programs offered. If a vocational or comprehensive high school offering Chapter 74 programs and or career technical education, please include the number of programs currently offered. So Burlington High School, grades 9 through 12, provides a comprehensive range of courses that align with the standards set by Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, DESE. Students have the opportunity to engage in college preparatory classes across all subjects. Advanced placement, AP, and honors classes are accessible to all students who fulfill the necessary criteria. At present, there are no limitations regarding square footage. However, operational constraints hinder the implementation of current science programs at Burlington High School.
Is this a good time, Bob, to talk about any of our special education programs? Any programs we're looking to build or expand within the high school under the special education umbrella?
Of course.
Yeah, I would say yes.
So maybe I'm not sure. Christina Ciccolini might be somebody to rope into this conversation and get some color and clarity on what her vision is.
Yeah, and as a special education advocate, look, we all know that population is steadily increasing, and room in the school is just not there. So, Eric, that's something that perhaps you and I can talk about.
Yep.
With Christina, and what the anticipated needs are.
Yeah, I'd love to be a part of that conversation as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Total school student enrollment. Please provide the current student enrollment at the school as of the SOI filing. Again, this is something that will fluctuate, so I'm going to just make a note and say enrollment. Current grades served at SOI facility, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Do you want to add pre-K to that, Bob?
Mm-hmm. School type comprehensive. Again, speaking out loud, so not sure if pre-K hinders or helps us in in the submission, but gladly will input that.
I mean, we could probably put that in parentheses, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure. Yep. So again, capacity and utilization, please provide the original design capacity and a detailed description of the current capacity and utilization of the school facility. Please also describe in detail any spaces that have been converted from their intended use to be used as classroom space. The facility is presently used mainly as a high school for grades 9 through 12. For the current school year, 25 through 26, enrollments for grade 9 through 12 in preschool stands at 1,033 students. Additionally, the facility accommodates the Burlington School Department Central Office, 12,000 square feet, and a system operated integrated preschool program, 12,000 square feet. The building is fully utilized. adequately addressing the space requirements of all students and is not currently facing issues of overcrowding. However, science classrooms are outdated and fall short of meeting the state's STEM expectations and standards. So this one we can probably, again, this says 5,000 characters. We can update. See.
Yeah.
And Bob, to the extent that you need help cutting the characters down, I can help you with that.
Great, thank you. Let's see. So, is there overcrowding at the school facility? No. Again, if yes, please describe in detail. Please provide the current student to teacher ratios at the school facility that is the subject of this SOI. Again, this will probably have to be updated. I don't know the number off the top of my head, so verify. Ratio. Please indicate if the ratio is a goal, practice, or a class size policy adopted by the school committee. The school committee's policy established a cap of 26 students per classroom. Nevertheless, for more than 2 decades, the committee has emphasized the importance of keeping classroom sizes to a maximum of 20 students. And again, I think I need to verify that, but I believe there's a union wording that caps at 26. Eric, if not, if you don't know, we can double check that.
No, it does 26, but I
Okay.
think that's a rare occurrence.
Okay.
The point is, we don't have crowding in the building, and they have us
Yeah.
rated at what, 300 plus square feet
24
of
square feet a student. Yeah.
students.
Which
So
is rather high, right? Compared to some of the other ones on the chart. But please provide the originally planned student to teacher ratio at the school facility that is the subject of the SOI. So number of students per teacher. I believe some old documentation has this at 24. Maintenance and capital repair. Please provide a detailed description of the district's current maintenance practices within the past 5 years, its capital repair program, and the maintenance program in place at the facility that is the subject of this SOI. Please include specific examples of capital repair projects undertaken in the past, including any override or debt exclusion votes that were necessary. Again, maximum of 5,000. So the Burlington School Department currently employs a total of 32 custodians across the entire system, with 12 custodians specifically assigned to the Burlington High School. The custodial assignments are organized into 3 overlapping shifts, which again will need to be updated. Overlapping shifts. Update. To enhance efficiency and maintain a clean learning environment. General maintenance and repairs are carried out by an in-house 5-person maintenance staff, along with external trade contractors funded through a buildings and grounds budget. The fiscal 2026 school department budget allocated $701,846 for repairs and supplies related to school facilities. Furthermore, alongside the operating budget, the school department has established a 10-year capital plan. In collaboration with the town administration, the school department identifies capital needs in relation to available capital funds and submits warrant articles accordingly. Over the past 18 years, Burlington has invested more than $8 million in capital projects at Burlington High School. This achievement has been realized without the necessity of a debt exclusion or override.
So again, Bob, we can look at this again, but what I would hope is as we go through this process, if there's ever an opportunity in public, if someone sort of tries to maintain or establish the point that the high school has been ignored, again, I would hope that we would, as a subcommittee, defend that the high school has been well maintained, and again, the community has invested millions of dollars in so doing.
Sorry about that. All right, so priority number 3. Again, priority number 3 is only available if earlier in the process we select number 3 as a priority for us. So again, these questions are populated based on selecting priority 3. So question number 1, please provide a detailed description of the facility-related issues that are threatening accreditation. Please include in this description details related to the program or facility's resources, i.e. media center, library, science rooms, labs, general classroom space, etc., whose condition or state directly threatens the facility's accreditation status.
And when we originally answered this question and included this priority, we did include Holly Potter's in the um, the description and limitations of the science classrooms. But we can certainly revisit that.
Sure. So the arrangements of these science laboratories obstructs teaching and suppresses learning, thereby preventing students from meeting the school's 21st century education goals, which emphasize collaboration, problem solving, and the effective utilization of digital resources. The science areas raise concerns regarding safety and their adequacy for students to fulfill the school's 21st century learning objectives. The outdated fixed furniture and the permanent setup in most science rooms hinder students' ability to collaborate, engage actively with the curriculum, and access technology and laboratory equipment. Although teachers strive to provide a contemporary curriculum and incorporate technology, many have taken it upon themselves to enhance their spaces with improved lighting, storage, and furniture to create a better learning environment. Most science classrooms are dimly lit, interior spaces lacking windows. The insufficient number of outlets leads to complications with equipment and technology. In many instances, the laboratory sinks are non-functional, and despite being unused in most rooms, gas jets disrupt the workspace. The current configuration of the rooms, characterized by outdated, immovable furniture and inadequate ventilation, plumbing, lighting, and electrical systems, fosters teacher-centered rather than student-centered environments, thereby impeding the staff's ability to effectively deliver 21st century curriculum in the science areas. While library and media personnel assist teachers and students by providing resources for student learning, the physical environment poses considerable challenges to service delivery. So this actually needs to change. I'm sorry. The design of the Upper Library and Media Center complicates the observation and supervision of students. Despite these difficulties, library and media staff remain proactive in their outreach to students and faculty to ensure curriculum support and address the individual needs of students. The outdated sorry.
No, go on. I'll go back.
Okay. Let me put a space here. Let me put a space here so we can have some breaks so I can go back to it. The outdated HVAC system presents significant issues. It is the oldest major operational equipment in the building, having been installed during the school's construction in 1972. The system fails to deliver adequate ventilation, temperature regulation, and air quality. Although the maintenance department strives to keep this equipment in good condition and operational, the noticeable fluctuations in temperature and air quality throughout the building indicate that the system is no longer adequately meeting the school's needs. The administration has been actively seeking funding for this enhancement, as highlighted in the MSBA report, but has not achieved success in the last 5 years. Addressing this issue remains a priority as outlined in the school's targeted 2- and 5-year plans. Priority number 3, again, this is question number 2.
Bob, just 1 second. Go ahead, Catherine.
Can you go back to where they were talking about the science labs?
Mhm.
So that's the threatening accreditation part of it. And if we could, again, go back to what I was talking about before, where she's talking about the real hardcore issues with why the laboratories obstruct teaching and suppress learning. We need to move that up
Yeah.
to that sentence so that they're reading what's obstructing it. Because by the time you got, I mean, we had gone through all this other stuff before you even got to what I think is most important as to why we could lose the accreditation. Just kind of move it around a little so that
Yeah.
and we see what's wrong.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that stuff isn't even necessary. I mean, the most important thing is that my understanding is that it doesn't comply with the current DESE science STEM learning requirements. I
That's
thought I
true.
heard that from someone. Okay,
That is-
so I think that needs to be in there. It doesn't comply with the current DESI STEM learning requirements. That needs to be in there. And as far as the rest of this stuff, this all seems, it's nice, but it all seems, it doesn't really seem important. The important part is, there are insufficient outlets. So most science classrooms are dimly lit interior spaces lacking windows. The insufficient number of outlets leads to complications with equipment and technology. In many instances, the laboratory sinks are non-functional, and just really kind of get to the meat of it that threatens that makes, that really,
Well, I mean, they think they don't use the sinks because they're really unusable, they're, and again, it's not for lack of trying to repair anything.
exactly. And it's, they're non-functional.
Right, we're to the point where we can't repair it to make them functional enough that they can use them as they should. And I don't know if there's a better way to word all that, but maybe we can reevaluate this whole section and reorganize and,
Yeah, and and despite being unused in most rooms, the gas, and these create safety issues for the students. So maybe if we play around with that a little bit.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. And we're going to have to re-answer this question again because this is about accreditation. And then I'm not sure whether it's 5 or 7, but we also have to talk about how the curriculum is being limited under
Yes.
another priority.
Yeah. And then if you're ready, Bob, can we scroll down a little more? So we stop our talking about the science center, right? And now we're talking about the library and media center, is that correct? Okay.
So we should put a heading, Bob, or something like
Yeah, some sort of, so it's clear we're making a change that there are 3 things that we're focusing on, right? So they don't kind of run into each other.
I also think we should mention accessibility again in this section because I think accreditation does weigh accessibility as part of the NEASC process.
Yeah.
That was going to be one of my questions. Is there a bullet pointed, is there a list of items that their accreditation is looking for? There has to be. I'm trying to find one quickly, but I didn't see one readily available on the website.
Yeah, Megan, we can pull that. We can pull that out.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So priority number 3, please describe the measures the district has taken to mitigate the problems described above. The school department continues to provide adequate funding to maintain current systems within its operating budget by increasing funding for repairs and maintenance at the expense of funding for educational purposes in an effort to foster student achievement of the school's 21st century learning expectations. There have been some physical challenges to the Library Media Center. Parts of the Library Media Center have been renovated to create areas more suitable for collaborative and independent learning. Classroom interiors are addressed on an individual basis through a work order program, Asset Essentials. Electrical repairs are handled through the same work order system on an as-needed basis and funded by the building grounds operating budget.
So quick question, you listed a whole bunch of money that we spent way back, right? So is there any way that you can put in the dollar amounts that we've spent on some of this stuff that you mentioned? I mean, is that too difficult? Just so that they see that we are, doing what we can to maintain and, do the best we can with what we have. I mean, and I don't know, do do you mention somewhere in here for some of the stuff that is too far gone to repair? Does it make sense to do that? Like, again, talking about some of the conditions in the science lab, that it's to a point where some of this is just beyond being able to do more than put a Band-Aid on it, and that's not acceptable, but it gets to a point where it's too expensive, or I don't know how you want to word it. You guys know what you see it and deal with it every day.
Yeah, and I'll have to double check. I'm not positive. I think the ones that have like the 5,000 characters allow some more flexibility. I'm believing, if I remember correctly, and I'll double check it, that some of these are short answer ones. So, characters and size and numbers of sentences are slightly limited. So I'm believing this is one, but I may have to like I said, double check and get back to you on that. Because
Yep.
usually, like I said, when you have 5,000, you have a little bit more room. When it doesn't have that 5,000, they're usually, like I said, prescriptive text boxes that give you uh, shorter spaces, but
Okay.
I'll confirm.
Yep. I just don't know how to, trying to emphasize things a little bit more and how much effort we're putting into repairing things and making them, usable, but not succeeding all the time.
Right. Understood. Again, question 5. Please provide a detailed description of the issues surrounding the school facility systems, e.g. roofs, windows, boilers, HVAC system, and/or electrical service and distribution systems that you are indicating require repair or replacement. Please describe all deficiencies to all systems in sufficient detail to explain the problem. If a response has been previously provided, please reference which page the information is on in lieu of copying and pasting. The responses per priority should capture new or different information than previously provided within this document. So again, in the general description, it talks about obviously the life of the boilers, et cetera, the roof. So the town of Burlington, along with the Burlington School Committee, has allocated significant resources toward the upkeep and refurbishment of the Burlington High School facility, as evidenced by the attached list of capital improvements. The project in question aims to replace all heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment. The current equipment installed in 1971 has surpassed its expected lifespan. The 3 existing boilers have increasingly necessitated repairs, such as tube replacements, each summer, and during the heating seasons, they fail to meet the efficiency targets, leading to higher costs. Furthermore, the existing controls, which operate on MS-DOS, an operating system introduced in the early 1980s that is obsolete, are no longer supported and currently function merely as a time clock, lacking the capability for individual room control from a centralized location. Given the ongoing construction, it is essential to remove all hallway ceilings. That one doesn't make sense to me. Sorry.
I agree. That didn't make sense to me either.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it says that, but given the ongoing construction, it is essential to remove all hallway ceilings to access the existing ductwork and VAV boxes, which control airflow to individual rooms for temperature regulation. In order to carry out this work, the lighting fixtures in both hallways and classrooms are from the original installation. However, ballasts and sockets have been upgraded to more efficient standard through utility rebate programs. Additionally, the current facility lacks a fire suppression system, sprinklers in parentheses, and the fire alarm system needs to be updated to comply with modern standards. The individual classrooms also require the modernization of teacher accessories such as whiteboards, tack boards, storage units, which are still from the original installation in most classrooms. A recent survey conducted amongst teaching staff revealed that the primary concern regarding sound transference through the movable walls built in 1972 was deemed the highest priority. Additional concerns included the need for extra electrical outlets to accommodate technology, new ceilings for soundproofing, updated classroom accessories, such as whiteboards and storage, and improvements in air quality. The science laboratories are from the original installation and require attention to align with current curriculum delivery standards. So this actually addresses back an earlier question that came up, but maybe with more detail. According to the existing MSBA standard for science classrooms, a space of 1,440 net square feet, NSF is recommended for 24 students. However, the Burlington Science Lab currently have a net square footage of 1,400 square feet, net square feet. Presently, we have an average class size of 18.63 for science courses. Out of our 57 science offerings, 16 classes, 1657 exceed a size of 22 students, although none surpass 24 students. Renovating the existing space will enable the science department to accommodate larger, more flexible classrooms for these bigger classes, enhance preparation and chemical storage, and improve the overall delivery of the curriculum. The science configuration of the current configuration of the science lab lacks the adaptability of movable teaching stations, the ability to accommodate both lecture and lab formats, and suitable arrangements for student stations as specified by the MSBA guidelines for science labs. Furthermore, the NEASC report from the Burlington High School dated November 8th, 2017 concludes that the configuration of these science in parentheses labs impedes teaching and stifles learning, thus inhibiting students from achieving the school's 21st century learning expectations, which emphasize collaboration, problem solving, and effective use of digital resources.
So,
This
Catherine, you and I spoke about if we can get NEASC. Again, this was 9 years ago. They're coming out. They're scheduled to come out. I think maybe even this spring. If we can get them to not only say their limitations, but it's putting our accreditation at risk. Like if they could add that sentence, that might lend weight to this priority.
Yeah.
Okay. Again,
So
stop me anytime, but
just make a note that when they come out as a reminder to, when they, to say that, if they're able to add that.
I'll just add, so this is due April.
Yeah.
So, if we are going to use that one, then we have to keep that in mind. The science area raises concerns regarding safety and their adequacy for students to meet the school's 21st century learning expectations. The outdated fixed furniture and static setup in most science rooms hinder students' ability to collaborate, engage actively with the curriculum, and access technology and lab equipment. Teachers strive to deliver a contemporary curriculum, incorporate technology, making many have take. So this is a copy and paste from earlier, even though it says not to. So I'm going to say this one.
Also, Bob, well, if you get to the end, I want to go back to something, once
Okay.
you finish, okay?
Do you want me to keep going, or do you want to address it?
All the way back to the fire suppression, because again, it kind of runs into, I think it needs to be separated somehow when you start talking about it.
Okay, so
Yes, Catherine, I agree. I think that has to be like the number one thing because everything else has been discussed.
Yeah.
the fire suppression should be the number one thing.
It's a
Because
safety
you've discussed everything else. So that's a new thing that you're introducing.
And then we can go on and talk about the HVAC and the science labs and everything else, but this is a safety issue. And, I mean, we've been very, I'm not gonna say it, just fortunate.
Mm,
And if anyone disagrees, please chime in. I mean, this is just suggestions, because again, we're trying to get them to focus on new things and prioritizing certain things, and certainly, the HVAC is important, but the science labs are very important. We can just think about maybe reordering things so that we have them in the order of importance of what we think is going to get us what we would like, which is MSBA funding.
And Bob, at what point, if you go up to like that, when we're talking about the HVAC again, is there a good point to talk about how inefficient the boilers are in regards to like using a lot of natural gas in relate, we have very little control. So these things, when they're on all day. And then,
Mhm.
with modern systems, they modulate and you use much less gas with condensing boilers and stuff. Is there a reason to slide something in referencing sort of
Efficiency.
environmental concerns and efficiency?
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, so to emphasize it definitely more, sure. Let me
Because
see.
the way the system is right now, without any real control, like I said, it's basically all on or all off. And, sometimes it doesn't need to be on and it's on, but really no way around it.
Mm, okay, where am I?
If you want, if it's easier, you can share it with, and if you'd like to, you can share it with me. And we can work on those changes because I know exactly where it is
Hmm?
instead of
This is great.
spending time doing it now.
Yeah, I'm just keeping notes. So this document's been shared with everybody in the group. If you haven't, I can make sure you're on it. But this was shared to the BHS SBC group last week, maybe later on in the week.
Okay,
So
yeah, I don't have it. Oh, no, wait, do I?
okay.
Do I? Wait a minute, do I?
So shared group. No. Sorry,
Yeah, I don't have it.
you don't. Okay. Yeah, we can double check. We can make sure. So
Perfect.
this is BHS SBC, and then his list of users. Yeah, I can double check, but like I said, there should be.
Great, thank you.
Not in here. Again, if you don't mind, give me some of your information, email address, if you don't want to say the whole thing out loud.
It's Harvard grad 617
Yeah.
at gmail.com.
Okay. So according to this,
Yeah, I see that.
should be shared. If not, I can follow up with you individually to make sure, but or I can add you right now to that list. Let me see.
Okay, I see. No, I have it. It went to my spam.
Okay.
Got it.
It's always good to double check with me to make sure that everyone's receiving things as well too. So thanks for the feedback. Where was I? So efficiency check back should be number one response. Copy. Okay. So right here. So knowing that we have a bunch of notes on this one to do some upgrading and checking for flexibility of teachers. Looks like we're going to need to do some updating on this. Outdated fixtures and interchangeable setups. Actually, let me just think for a sec. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm in the right spot. So we're back to here. Yeah. And then we talked about outdated fixture furniture setup, current electrical system. So I'm going to start from right here. Jump back into this. The current electrical system possesses sufficient capacity to fulfill the expected demand. However, it faces challenges in certain areas related to the age and functionality of the equipment. A thorough evaluation of the existing disconnects and transformers is necessary to determine their remaining life expectancy. Additionally, the motors and motor control systems do not comply with contemporary energy standards, leading to heightened demand from utility providers. The capacity of the generator must be reconsidered as the current unit only manages a minimal load during emergency situations. Overall, the existing physical plant at glance does not accurately reflect its age of over 40 years. Sure why I put that, but custodial maintenance and teaching staff take considerable pride in the facility's appearance. However, the core systems, the heart, electrical, lungs, HVAC, and bloodstream ductwork controls are fatigued and deteriorated due to age. Revitalizing these components along with their identified areas will enable the Burlington community to continue providing an educational opportunity that is admired by other districts and will prolong the useful life of this facility for an additional 50 years. According to the Burlington High School NEASC report, 2017 November, once funding is secured to improve the science lab, performing arts area, and HVAC systems, the site and plant will be equipped to offer adequate and suitable space to guarantee the full implementation of a high-quality educational program and service for all students.
I might just mention that in regards to, the electrical demand and stuff, just wanted to kind of reiterate what I said earlier about efficiency. Because the motor controls, the motor systems that are on the roof, there's these gigantic motors that are, again, all on or all off. They have no variable frequency drives, so they use a lot of power. And with a modern system, that would definitely improve.
And and then the other thing I would suggest too is I think where it says overall the existing physical plant, I think that's kind of like you're in conclusion and you're kind of mentioning like in the end all the things that are failing. So
Yeah.
want to put instead of overall the existing, say in conclusion, start a new paragraph, or however you want to word it, but just make it clear that this is kind of us recapping everything. And then the punches, again, that according to the NEASC, that once the funding secured, our science labs will be, up to, 2021.
Mhm. Again, priority 5, question 2. Please describe the measures the district has already taken to mitigate the problem issues described in question 1 above. If a response has been previously provided, please reference which page the information is on in lieu of copying and pasting. So the school department continues to allocate sufficient funding to sustain existing systems with its operational budget by augmenting financial resources for repairs and maintenance, albeit at the cost of educational funding. I'm going to highlight that because I'm not sure why that is there. Um, we have initiated a proactive coil cleaning program to ensure the efficiency of air supply throughout all areas. The current controls are irreparable and function merely as a time clock. Individual room controls are managed by pneumatic thermostats, which lack central control, leading to increased utility expenses. So this will need a full expand.
Yeah, I can help you expand on that.
Yeah. Again, for short responses, makes sense to me. If we have the ability in the room within the SOI to expand, then we need to. Yeah. So the department has installed new windows and new roof with enhanced insulation, which aids in reducing the rising utility costs attributed to the inefficiency of the heating plant. Classroom interiors are addressed individually through a work order system, asset essentials. Electrical repairs are also managed through the same work order system on an as-needed basis, funded by the Buildings and Grounds operating budget. Regarding public safety and health concerns, the existing facility is deficient in a fire suppression system The current HVAC system is becoming unserviceable. The indoor air quality fails to meet current ASHRAE standards due to outdated equipment and controls. Energy efficiency. The existing HVAC system comprises original boilers, air handlers, ductwork, and associated piping, 1972, all of which have surpassed their serviceable lifespan and require replacement. The facility is devoid of a modern control system, which is essential for a facility of this magnitude to achieve energy efficiency. Completing this work will necessitate the removal and replacement of affected ceilings, lighting, and other impacted systems. So, again, I think we can expand on.
Yeah, I think that's an important paragraph, but we can definitely dig into that a little bit.
Well,
Socotec's description later on in the document gets a little dig a little deeper into why it's so inefficient.
Understood, yeah. All right, priority 5, question 3. Please provide a detailed explanation of the impact of the problems, issues, described in question 1 above on your district's educational program. Please include specific examples of how the problem prevents the district from delivering the educational program it is required to deliver, and how students and/or teachers are directly affected by the problem identified. And if a response has been previously provided, please reference the page number. So the identified program solely impacts the educational process by ensuring the provision of a suitable and comfortable learning environment in the absence of centralized control. There is no mechanism to oversee and regulate environmental functions within the facility. The excessive costs associated with maintaining and operating an inefficient system redirects funds that could otherwise be allocated to educational needs. The existing equipment fails to comply with current design standards. And then it says, please refer to the engineering evaluation of HVAC systems conducted by BLW Engineering in March of 2016, which was subsequently reevaluated by Socotec Inc. in 2021. More critically, the scope of the project extends beyond mere expedited repairs. There are communities that have completely replaced high schools that were inaugurated in the same year as Burlington High School, incurring substantial local and state expenses. We aim to reinvest in a robust building with necessary updates to facilitate the delivery of current state standards. Our science classrooms are considerably inadequate to achieve this objective. Your support for the request will prolong the operational life of a functioning high school at a significantly lower cost compared to constructing a new high school. So I have to see. Yeah, this is a reference out of that. So I'm going to check this. I'm going to check this reference. So without it in front of me right now, the Socotec facility audit basically was looking at repair estimates and so forth by showing a repair plan and an operational cost on it. And I don't know if we want to reference necessarily full repairs or probably reward that. So reference to Socotec. So possibly, but okay, priority number 5. Please describe how addressing the school facility systems you identified in question 1 will extend the useful life of the facility and how it will improve your district's educational program. Again, if previously provided, reference the page, which is the information. So the funding obtained through collaboration with the MSBA for this project, along with the capital improvements already recognized and executed by the Burlington School Department, nearly completes a comprehensive renovation of all significant elements of the facility. The structure is sound and fulfills all anticipated enrollment projections for current programs for the foreseeable future. The introduction of new science laboratories, enhanced safety features and equipment, improved accessibility for individuals with disabilities, and the implementation of more energy efficient systems including a refurbished or replaced HVAC system and other environmental controls that comply with contemporary standards, will create a superior learning environment for both students and staff for the next 50 years. If not located elsewhere in this SOI, please also provide the following information. Have the systems identified above been examined by an engineer or other trained building professional? Yes. If yes, please provide the name of the individual and his or her professional affiliation. Socotec, where they're located, the date of the inspection, so 2021, a summary of the findings. Again, I believe this is a copy and paste, and I can read all of this, but this is from the report. Does everybody want me to read this part right here?
Savior, if it's a copy and paste from the report. Does everyone agree? I mean, I don't want to, but we should probably read it on our own. And then at the next meeting, if we see anything, you know, but again, this is a copy and paste, so.
I've read through it and it's definitely got some good information in there, so.
Right.
We'll, Bob and I will look closely at it.
Well, again, I'm gonna put a note on it that says, check the reference with Socotec report. And then I'm gonna say updates as needed. And then
I mean, do we need to mention that this is that this is copy and pasted directly from the report? Should we let them know that it's not just us making this stuff up?
well, we can, and I agree with you. So I probably should add that. I guess my interpretation is this section is about the report, and if there was a no, then you don't have the ability to go in and add it. So they are asking for a summary of the findings, and this is the summary of findings from the report.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so
But maybe just
I agree.
Started off with the summary of findings from the report, just so it's like obvious, you know. I mean, we know, but like I said, when when outsiders are reading it, I think it just might make more sense. And it reminds them, I think, when they start reading it, that it's a summary as well. I just think that they read through the thing over and over and over again. And how many people apply, right? Whatever look different.
Yeah, but I see Bob's point. It says, a summary of the findings. So this is a summary of the findings from that report.
True.
No, again, but still, great point from both sides. So
Yeah, I mean, whatever the whole team feels. I mean, I just wanted to chime in there. Anything that makes us look different, but not silly.
right. So again, I'm going to come down to here. So now we're moving to a new priority 7. Please provide a detailed description of the programs not currently available or in substandard spaces due to facility constraints, the state or local requirements for such programs, and the facility limitations precluding the programs from being offered. If a response has been previously provided, please reference which page the information is on. So you're going to see obviously science labs, but this is a little bit of a different breakdown. So chemistry, the existing configuration of the science area necessitates that students engage in lectures, class discussions, and/or classwork at the same stations designed for laboratory activities. This arrangement leads to unnecessary exposure of students to chemicals and other hazards such as gas jets, electrical outlets, hot plates that may linger from previous class sessions. Furthermore, it hampers the smooth transition between the lectures and practical activities, resulted in wasted class time due to the inability to leave equipment set up in designated areas for future use.
Okay.
Biology, the
Wait,
outdated biology. Sorry.
Can we go back to chemistry?
Yeah.
So we start talking about, the such as gas, jets, blah, 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 and that they're exposed to chemicals. How's the ventilation in there? I mean, is it really clearing things out well enough so that the students aren't breathing? I mean, is there something that we can add to that? just something about the ventilation not being great, especially with no windows, whatever we can do to make it look bad, or
Maybe we should talk to, have another conversation with the staff down there to see,
yeah,
because I know there's like really old hood vents that don't work, and so ventilation I don't think is good down there. Everything is very old.
right. But there's no windows. Like, so what if you had, some chemical that mixed with another chemical? There's no way to open the window. And it's like you have to evacuate the room and run, and then it just drifts down the hall for everybody else to breathe, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they use those hood vents where they're supposed to do stuff inside them and vent outside. I think they work. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just questioning it
Yeah.
because I mean, when you go down and observe, you can't see that stuff, but it'd be nice to know. And if there are concerns with it, we should bring it up.
Sure. Yeah, again, I think this is a perfect time, in this and other sections of the SOI to, reinvest in talking with the science department, and, we'll do a review of this. But let me jump on to biology because you'll probably have similar comments, maybe not. The outdated biology classrooms at Burlington High School do not facilitate 21st century learning methodologies. To begin with, the old furniture is fixed to the floor. This immovable setup is not suitable for various instructional approaches, including teaching or student-led presentations, Socratic seminars, class discussions, large group readings, film viewings, or examinations. The limitation of having only one possible classroom arrangement stifles the creativity that could flourish within the learning environment. Moreover, if a larger space is required for a demonstration or activity, the entire class must relocate to a different area. Additionally, the integrated furniture and equipment present a safety hazard to the students. For instance, the outlets located at the student tables are malfunctioning and frequently emit sparks when a student tries to utilize them. Furthermore, many cabinets and shelves are deteriorating at the hinges, which expose sharp edges. The situation significantly hampers the use of certain laboratory equipment, such as microscopes. Additionally, the insufficient open space complicates the setup of lab equipment and the execution of laboratory activities during lab sessions. There is minimal room for students to navigate between different lab stations. Moreover, this spatial limitation hinders the effective use of contemporary technology. There is a restricted area available for placing technology and setting up screens. Furthermore, there is inadequate space for students to collaborate and exchange their work and ideas with their peers. Lastly, the absence of proper ventilation, including windows, limits the variety of laboratory experiments that can be conducted within the classroom. So I'm going to say, highlight and expand. Let me see. No, this is one physics. Physics. In the physics class, laboratory experiences form the foundation for how students discover, practice, and apply the concepts presented to them. It is crucial to have a dedicated physics lab in each classroom. Unfortunately, our physics classroom do not have a separate lab area. This absence restricts the teacher's capacity to prepare experiments in advance, leading to a loss of instructional time. Since the equipment must be stored away at the conclusion of each class, students are afforded only a limited time frame with the equipment, which can constrain their opportunities to further investigate their own inquiries. Priority 7, question number 2, please describe the measures the district has taken or is planning to take in immediate future to mitigate the problems described above. If a response has been previously provided, please reference which page in lieu of copy and pasting. This answer is routine upkeep, optimizing the use of obsolete machinery, submitting an application for the MSBA renovation. So this one, I'm just going to say expand explanation. Number Priority 7, question number 3. Please provide a detailed explanation of the impact of the problem described in this priority on your district's educational program. Please include specific examples of how the problem prevents the district from delivering the educational program it is required to deliver, and how students and/or teachers are directly affected by the problem identified. If a response has been previously provided, please reference which page in lieu of copy and pasting. Again, similarly reworded, but let's go chemistry. A revised classroom configuration would facilitate smoother transition for students engaging in group work, hands-on activities, or collaborative tasks following lecture-based instruction. A design where students conduct laboratory experiments and or group activities in specific zones, distinct from the desk and seating arrangements, would enhance both the student safety and the capacity to offer a diverse range of student-centered and teacher-centered activities, all while reducing transition and setup times between these two models of learning. The application of concepts, real-world problem solving, and collaboration are essential components of a 21st century classroom, which would be more effectively implemented if the classroom space were divided into designated areas for instruction and practical applications. Biology. An optimal classroom configuration would feature a designated classroom area alongside a dedicated laboratory space, or alternatively, utilize movable furniture such as steel case desks that facilitate both independent and collaborative group activities. Furniture that can be easily rearranged to adapt to the lesson's requirements fosters greater creativity, collaboration, and innovation, all of which are essential skills for the 21st century. Furthermore, the lab-oriented classroom should still be equipped with essential facilities such as sinks, electrical outlets, storage solutions, proper ventilation, and up-to-date safety equipment. The existing arrangement of the physics classroom is predominantly centered around the teacher. A fixed desk is positioned at the front of the room with student tables organized around it. While these tables offer sufficient space for the student collaboration, they're quite heavy and not easily movable, making it a challenge to adjust seating arrangements for various activities. Physics. Establishing a separate laboratory area would enable students to transition more efficiently between instructional time and lab work, minimizing the loss of valuable instructional minutes. Most significantly, having a laboratory setup accessible to students for an extended duration would promote inquiry-based laboratory experiences. That would be the end of priority number 7. That would be the last part of the question. So again, when priority 7, let me just go up for a second. If you were to check priority 7, only priority 7, you will have 3 questions. Question 1, question 2, and question 3. So those would be the only places during the priorities that you would be able to input data. Same with question 5. If I scroll up, I just want to make sure. Question 5 has 4 areas where you can answer questions. And then a second part of question 4 asks if it has been looked at by another engineer or trained professional, where we can input in data from the engineer. At the end of these priorities, the certifications, again, to the readings and the votes required from the school committee and select board, also the certification of those votes. I know I will go back to some things, but I just want to give some overview. So the chief executive officer, the school committee chair, and the superintendent of schools all would need to have electronic signatures. So this needs to be emailed to them. They have to review it and sign all of these. And then that would be the complete submission, except then once those have been submitted, a complete document has to be printed and sent certified mail, or not certified mail, I'm sorry. It has to be sent with tracking and delivery date acceptance to the MSBA. It needs to include the full statement of interest, the 2 certified votes from the school committee and the select board, and any documents that are referenced in here. So for this, it would be the Socotec 2021 document and the BLW facilities audit of 2000 or KBA facilities audit in 2017. So sorry, my voice.
Thank you, Bob. That was a lot.
And I apologize if I was going fast. I was thinking
No.
about time
No.
and everyone having to listen to me.
No, we appreciate you. I always say that whenever we're in meetings and you're the one who's doing all the reading and making all the notes, it's not easy, and it's definitely appreciated. So thank you. So it's a little after 8 o'clock. We started at 6:30. I know we had other items on our list, but I think this right now, the SOI is our main focus. So I think we're going to table the rest of the items on the agenda. I saw there was one person who's not on the committee yet. John, I didn't know if there was something in public participation that you might want to say, or if there's anyone else who might like to say something for the public participation part. And if not, then I'm gonna move forward with the next thing I wanted to say before we conclude.
I was just wondering if it's worth mentioning the water quality, or if that's not really a building thing, but rather a Burlington thing.
Well, I think that's more of a Burlington thing but I'm not an expert. I will say that.
Burlington, where the average hot water heater lasts about 3 years.
Yeah, I'll second that.
I'm just wondering that, a lot of the sinks you can walk around the school and some of the sinks will say, not potable water, you can't drink water out of here. I just didn't know if that was a thing that could be solved with a new building, or if that's outside of the scope.
And I don't think that it's because the water's not safe, is it, Bob? It's more because for other reasons.
Yeah. So there was a focus specifically at the high school due to the age of the building. We did it at Francis Wyman, also at Pine Glen and whatnot. But where we really wanted to focus staff and students drinking out of newer filters, new bubblers, new water distribution areas that had filters on them. So the water coming in is the water that's supplied from the Burlington Town Reservoir through the water department. But again, we really wanted the water that was going to be ingested to go through the the filter systems that we have now. So if you drink water from your house, you could drink water from the sinks in the bathroom here at the schools, but most people in Burlington don't seem to love the Burlington water. So for that reason, we definitely wanted to distinguish hand washing, flushing toilets, and drinkable water, and direct everybody more towards those areas. So.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Is there anything else, John?
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, no, thank you for joining this evening. So before we end the meeting, I did want to mention that Mimi Bix Highland has submitted her resignation from the subcommittee, and she did it for various reasons. She sent her email out to the whole committee, and I just wanted to thank her for all of her contributions over the last several years. I asked her to not hesitate to continue to share any thoughts and suggestions. She put many of her thoughts and suggestions into this email, and I know that we'll be discussing that, with the committee in the future. I think if there's anything that any of you want to bring up at the next meeting in regard to the email that you were all copied on, we'd appreciate that. But at this point, I just wanted to acknowledge her email, say that we're sorry that she's resigning, and once again, thank you for all of her contributions. I think at the last meeting, I did welcome new members, and we had another person officially join our group. So I wanted to formally welcome Jeff Marsh as a part of the committee. And I will bring it up one more time. We still have not sworn in the whole subcommittee yet. So please, anyone who's listening this evening, anyone who watches this after the fact, please, if you're interested in joining the committee, please send an email to me at kbond@bpsk12.org, and we're more than happy to add you to the list. Again, we'd like to have as many people in the town with various backgrounds and ideas, and especially, people who, say that we're so vocal during the election, it would be nice to have some of those folks join as well. And anyone else who kind of maybe came in late and didn't know about the whole project till late or found out after the fact, please get the word around that we welcome any and all people to, get their input for moving whatever we decide with what we need to do with the high school, moving it forward. But again, right now, the focus is the SOI. I appreciate everybody's being here this evening, and I didn't know if anyone else wanted to chime in before we end. Are we good?
Just to say thank you to Bob. Bob, thanks.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
course.
Thank you everyone for coming and attending this evening. Have a nice evening. I'm going to, anyone want to make a motion, even though we're not an official school committee meeting, we'll just make it official. A motion to adjourn.
Yes.
All right, everyone in favor? All right, this meeting
Thank
is.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you all.
Okay. Night.
Good night.